Welcome to our daily reflection for this Thursday, January 18th. And today we have the story of David after he defeats Goliath. There's all the women in the village are singing these great songs of victory, but they sing that Saul has killed his thousands, but David his 10,000s. And of course, this song, not only does it irk Saul, it makes him very envious of David. And, envy is a terrible, terrible thing. It's one of the 7 deadly sins, but it's particularly bad, as we know from Scripture, because it's through the devil's envy that death entered the world, right? So the devil was envious of humanity being made in the image and likeness of God and having a relationship with God, and so he sought to destroy humanity. And so envy is very destructive. It's a much more intensification than jealousy. If I'm jealous of your car, I might try to get a better car. But if I'm envious, I might destroy your car, right? So envy really seeks not only to do better than your neighbor, but it seeks your neighbor's bad, right? You want something bad to happen to the person you're envious of. The person you're jealous of, you might want to have something better or more than them, but when you're envious, you want to destroy them, and that's a deadly thing. Envy really works against charity. It is the opposite of charity. And so we have to be worried of it. And what we see is Saul's insecurity becomes corrosive of his relationship with David. And we see that insecurity, thinking that others might be liked and therefore I'm not, when we compare ourselves out of insecurity with others, it leads to a real selfishness, of turning away from charity and wishing the good of others to, if good happens to you, then bad will happen to me. And once we have that kind of envious ratio in our minds, it really is destructive. And that's why we see how that kind of insecurity is corrosive to relationships. And so we have to examine ourselves. It's one thing to be insecure. I'm not sure if I can do this or that new thing, or there's a certain level of insecurity that's just natural. But if it becomes insecurity that relates to my identity, and I therefore think, them doing well might mean bad for me, that is a toxic insecurity. And we have to examine ourselves always, that if we have that, we have to pray that God delivers us from any kind of envy. And then we want to pray that the person we're envious of may succeed. And we ask God, give me a heart to wish they're good, to want them to do well, to thrive, to be praised, to be successful, whatever it is, right? We don't want to be like Saul, because Saul will turn against David. And the opposite of that kind of envy, the magnanimity that we see with Jonathan, who is the son of King Saul. And he would have the most to be threatened by David, because if David becomes really successful, then Jonathan won't be king. But Jonathan loves David so much, he is happy with David to be praised. He's happy that David gets the spotlight. And he intercedes for David to his father Saul, and begs Saul not to sin against David and to treat him well. And so I love Jonathan. He is a true friend. He wishes the good of his friend, even if that costs him something. And so we see, I think in Jonathan, authentic and true friendship. And I think he's one of the greatest models of an authentic friend in all of Scripture and salvation history, for that matter. And so let's seek to be like Jonathan, to be magnanimous, generous with our friends, rather than like Saul, envious and competitive with others, right? That's so important. Let's reflect on that. We want generosity rather than competitiveness. We want security, accepting what God gives us rather than insecurity. May the Lord bless and keep you.
This daily reflection is brought to you thanks to the generous support of the Mission Circle. Join the Mission Circle to help Catholics worldwide understand, live, and share their faith. Sign up at missioncircle.org today.